U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy has issued a new advisory on loneliness as a health issue. In the report, Dr. Murthy warns that loneliness poses a health risk just as deadly as smoking.
This is a problem that has been building for decades in our country. COVID certainly worsened it. It poured fuel on the fire, but that fire was burning before.
I didn't think America was a fragmented, fractured, lonely country. People were, in all kinds of groups. We were famous as a nation of joiners. And now it seems we're staying alone. What's going on?
Because of social media, because of the internet, we were certainly becoming a society that was very much insulated, focusing just on ourselves. Many of our activities were online, and we were starting to lose that human connection. We're seeing a 50% increase in the risk of developing dementia for older adults, 29% increase in the risk of heart disease, 32% increase in the risk of stroke, premature death up by more than 60%. That as social animals, as human beings, that we need to be connected. Our evolution is about relying on one another, and we're losing that connection, and it's having deleterious effects.
But isn't it kind of up to each one of us to reach out to one another, kind of the old-fashioned way? Love thy neighbor?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, the responsibility falls to us as individuals. We need to make sure that parks, libraries stay open. As you know, in some states, there are some legislators that are trying to close down libraries. Make sure that we have playground where our kids can connect with one another, and paid family leave so people can not only see one another, but when they need a break from having children, for example, or some sort of an illness, that they can recuperate but be there for one another. What is going on with this isolation, with loneliness, and what do each of us need to do to solve this problem? Because if we don't, the effects will continue to be dire.
And being aware, I guess, of our own loneliness.
It's one thing, Terry, to want to be by yourself and taking that time. It's another thing when it's forced upon you, or you don't have a choice and you see that you're by yourself. That is a very, very clear sign that there is deprivation of humanity. But as you said, asking something like, hey, how are you doing? And really listening to what the person has to say and showing interest.
Do you ever get lonely?
Yeah, I think everyone gets lonely.
That's almost like a daily struggle.
Gen Z is the loneliest generation in America, but also it is affecting people in ways you might not know.
I literally get off, it's pitch black. I don't have energy. How do you have friends? How do you have time to I don't have time for anything. And I'm so stressed out.
I'm just tired of begging people to want me in their life. If you don't want me, okay, then bye. But why does nobody make an effort?
Right now, I'm not even looking for love. I just need a friend.
So if you clicked on this video, I just want to give you a big warm hug, because by the title, you're probably dealing with loneliness, or dealt with loneliness, or feel lonely. That's why you click on the video, right? If not, then you're probably just curious and you just love me so much. And I still want to give you a hug, okay? Loneliness is something that people are ashamed to talk about that they dealt with. And we all want to know how to cope, how to deal with this loneliness epidemic that's been going on, especially in this generation. And this video is going to help you to better understand how to cope and how to overcome. But first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Kareen Aloud Mental Gems. This channel is dedicated to leveling up in all areas of your life. So let us learn together, read together, but most importantly, grow together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Let's start with number one, with this loneliness epidemic. We've all been seeing the TikTok trends of people just crying out, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Me, for one, I just feel like a lot, especially since what happened in 2020, which I don't know if YouTube is still weird with us saying those terms, but especially since 2020, there's been a huge decline in people. There's been a huge decline in people feeling fulfilled in their lives in terms of as loneliness goes. But I'm glad that there are more people being vocal about it and unashamed, even though people pick on them why are you crying online? Me personally, I wouldn't recommend for you to go cry online. I always say, online is not your therapy. You never know who's watching, and, monitoring spirits are out there. But I do not shame anyone who chooses to share. It just kind of reminds us that we're not alone. We all deal with the same thing. The number one thing on how to cope with loneliness, which I have a couple tips there, is first just admitting that you are indeed lonely. And you cannot heal if you don't know you're sick. I always say that. That's my favorite quote. Quote me. I think I might put that on my tombstone when I die. You cannot heal if you don't know you're sick. And for you to be honest with yourself, raw with yourself, and say, hey, I'm lonely. It prevents you from making a lot of mistakes. What What do you mean creep? First of all, lonely people that don't want to admit that they're lonely tend to date for the wrong reasons, go make friends for the wrong reasons, do self-destructing things that is not for the reason. If they just could pinpoint what it is. And oftentimes we can pinpoint what it is. We just don't want to say that's what it is or own up to it being that because we feel embarrassed or we feel like we're isolating ourselves from society. Something is wrong with us to say that you're just lonely. Like I have my loneliness period, and loneliness doesn't just mean that you don't have nobody, you don't have no family, you don't have friends, because I have all of that. Like I would be in a room full of people and still feel a little lonely sometimes. And it could just be a mental thing. For me, it was just mentally like thoughts that you could have in your head that you just cannot express to people or whatever. And you could have people that genuinely love you, that's there, that cares for you, and still feel a little emptiness. And for a lot of people, it's not necessarily that. It could just be that maybe you're in your single era right now and you feel a little lonely to see everybody with their significant others, and you're kind of feeling like you want a relationship. Or maybe you are away at college. This was a lot for me. Like when I first moved away from home, I was very lonely. Like I wanted hugs. Maybe if you're away from college, you don't really have like, you know, you make college friends and stuff like that. You're social, but it's a different feeling. You know what I mean? And you might want somebody to give you a genuine hug. Like you're deprived of hug, of like just love, and to know, hey, I grew up with these people, whatever. For some, it's just friendship. They don't have friends. They don't have people to go out with on the weekends, and you're on social media and you're seeing people having fun with their friends or having girl trips and traveling, and you don't have friends. And maybe you have a spouse, you have kids, or you have a boyfriend, but you wish you could have girlfriends. Like you could have your own friends to go out with. And especially guys do not like to admit when they're lonely or that they don't have friends. They're a little embarrassed by it. They don't want to be vulnerable all the time. Although there's shifts now, which I love to see, where men are a little bit more vocal, they typically aren't at a certain age and they're just kind of okay with it. You tell yourself whatever, like, okay, I don't care, I don't need friends. We all need friends, and we all need friends that aren't just surface level, hey, hi, you know, but deeper, like, I'm going through this, could you pray for me, talk with me, this and that, whatever. We all need friends. Friends are like therapists, right? Or maybe it's that you have friends, you have the spouse, but maybe you're disconnected with your family and you feel a little lonely with that. When the holidays come, whether it be Thanksgiving or whatever, you always feel that aching loneliness pain. It's just terrible feelings to have, right? But admit and pinpoint why your loneliness is. If you're like, hey, I feel lonely, but why? Because I have a man, I have family. Okay, I don't have friends. Or I have friends, I have a man. Oh, I don't have family. Like, figure out what it is. Did you just move? Are you away from people? Maybe you just married a spouse, but they're deployed to another state. Now you had to leave all your friends and family to go move with them, and you feel a little isolated, lonely. You have to start over, and you're feeling lonely. It could be very depressing. Whatever the situation is, you're moving for work, you're moving because of the economy, you're moving because of natural disaster. Starting over is scary, okay? But just pinpoint and admit what it is, because you cannot heal if you don't admit what it is. So pause this video and ask yourself, why am I lonely? Let me pinpoint it. What is the reason? The other thing that is really helpful is to realize, just like with TikTok, it shows you, and people speaking about this more, that you're not alone. There's so many other people that are going through the same things. It helps. I don't understand fully the psychology of that, but hey, it's psychology. Whenever you know that you're not the only one dealing with something or going through something, there's others that are dealing with the same thing or going through the same thing. For some reason or whatever reason, it's comforting, and it helps you to not feel alone. Like, okay, I'm not the only one. Okay, how do I manage this, etc. So take comfort in knowing that there's so many lonely people out here. That should be sad. That's a little sad thought, right? But it also makes you feel like, okay, I'm not alone, and you not overthinking it like something's wrong with you. You're the only one that feels like that. Because oftentimes when we feel lonely, we be feeling like we're the only one in the world without friends. We're the only one in the world stuck home on a Friday night. well, me by choice, Sabbath. But we're the only ones without a man right now or a girl. We're the only ones who's dealing with our family. Like we think in extremes when we're lonely, and we could feel like we're the only one not at a cookout or Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas or Father's Day or Mother's Day. We seem to be the only lane, but always know there's people going through similar things that feel the same way as you. You're not the only one. It's just there's more people posting it. What are some habits we can do in terms of our loneliness? Number one, I would say is for now, if the feeling is so intense, I would avoid couple goals on Instagram, certain pages, certain friends, mute them a little bit, like those couple pages, friendship pages, whatever thing is bothering, or take a sabbatical from social media because it can make you feel a lot more lonely. That's just it. And if you're antisocial, anything worth having takes a little bit of work. So there's homework in this video. That's just tough love. You want to get out of your loneliness, right? It takes a little bit of work. So what you're going to do, take your social media sabbatical, go to a park by yourself. Take the fear from that. Just go sit, don't feel uncomfortable. Because me, in my lonely era, I was still uncomfortable to go do things by myself. To go sit and be. The thought of sitting and eating somewhere by myself, going to a park, is traumatizingly scary. But do it. Go walk in a park, start working out at a park where you're just walking in the park. Find a trail, do a trail, get outdoors, get some vitamin D, whatever you do. Because if you stay indoors in your lonely era, that can quickly turn into depression. And that is very tough to get out of, and you spiral. But there's something about the sun. There's something about being outdoors that just does wonders for you. So go outside, go to a trail, go to a park, go drive up to the beach by yourself if you have to, or go to a Starbucks, or go to a cafe, a bookstore, even if you're very introverted and you're shy, because a lot of times the loneliest people are very shy people or introverted people that can't do things by themselves. You want to go somewhere that you don't feel all eyes are too much on you. Go to a library. It's quiet. You can look for books. And then you'll see a lot of other people sitting there alone in the library too. And that can encourage you to feel, okay, I'm not alone. No one's looking at them. You can enjoy, be familiar with familiar faces. Like the more you go to the library, you'll notice more familiar faces that come there a lot too. Many times I made friends just by keep going to the same place. Like say nail salon, I go to the same nail salon all the time. So eventually my nail tech lady, we have each other's number, we talk. And there's people that will end up coming in at the same time frequently enough that it's like, hey girl, I would start knowing now. I know where you work. I know this, I know that. Like there's little chit chat that goes and friendships form like that. But you have to be able to smile at people, which is another thing that's very easy. Just smile. Sometimes the smile over time builds up. If you're seeing the same people, they'll walk up to you, they'll make friends with you. And it can just be comforting to get a smile back. But if you're in the house, isolated from people, the lonelier you feel, the less isolated you should try to keep yourself. So be where there's people. Even at the library, smile at the librarian. You smile at people you see. Just keep smiling at people. It will naturally just happen. Create those habits. Go to a local gym. You know how many gym friends? Like people make friends at the gym. They don't even know the people's names, but they see them all the time. They have the nod, the gym nod, all of that. They make little funny reels about it.
Yeah, of course. Can we tell you over the next one? Yeah. Good to meet you. Lily. If you ever want a gym session.
Literally easiest thing is to just walk up and ask someone, excuse me, do you know where the liquor machine is? Do you know where the liquor machine is? Sydney? Yeah. What's your name? Yeah, I'm Sid. Nice to meet you. Oh, absolutely.
What if I don't have a gym, bro? Don't worry, bro. Let me help you. Here's how you can make friends in the gym. Begin with a conversation starter. Hey man, you mind spotting me real quick? Yeah, sure bro. From there, make small talk to keep it going. Listen, show interest, and continue the conversation. Don't over pursue the conversation or try and force it. Then towards the end of the conversation, introduce yourself. And remember their name for the future. Next time you see them at the gym, greet them and see where it goes.
Yeah, so go to a gym. It don't matter how you are, because people think the gym is for people who's already fit. No, go there no matter how. You'll make friends there, or regular people that you see all the time. That really helps with your loneliness, frequent the same cafes sometimes. With frequency, I say I love to try new dining, new places, but I have my frequent places that I like to go. I have my places where they're familiar with me, oh, Kareen, we know your order, we know your drink, we know this and that. I have those places. Why? It helps with the familiarity, and whoever's working, if someone's new, oh, you're new here, and then everybody, oh yeah, Kareen, she comes here all the time, you make friends that way also. But it's just putting yourself out there in frequency, smiling and being approachable. And you're not always going to be in an approachable mood, because now I could just go out and I'm not trying to make friends. I just want to go out by myself. It's relaxing. I've been cooped up in the house too long. Let me go grab lunch somewhere else instead of cooking today by myself, or let me go walk in the park instead of the gym or my treadmill or whatever. So sometimes you're out and you're not even trying. Like if I go to the beach now, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I just want to keep my toes in the sand and relax, right? But in the lonely era, it was intentional. It was intentional to go just to see faces, just to see people, and not be lonely, be at one with yourself, okay? And smiling and being approachable and being nice, which is another thing, is volunteer work, okay? What do you say? Volunteer, whether it's with your church group, your school, whatever it is, get into volunteering work. If you're in high school, college, whatever, get into sports. For me, in high school, though, I was introverted. I fought it by getting into sports, soccer, cross country, whatever sport there was that I could do, I would do it. And I made the greatest of friends during my era in high school from that. So get into sports, get active. It don't actually have to be sports. There was other after school activities that I was in. I was in a debate club. They have like chess club. They have clubs where they do poetry clubs, step team, dance, whatever. It don't necessarily have to be sports, but there's a niche for everything. There's art club, which I love theater. I was in the theater club. I was doing it all. Volunteer, just put yourself out there, do a lot of things, and it makes you a little bit more well-rounded, have more things to talk about, and then opens you up to meeting new people too. Don't be afraid to volunteer at a soup kitchen. Don't be like, if instead of feeling sorry for yourself every Christmas, going to be cooped up at the house, scrolling through social media, looking at people with their families, why don't you see what's the nearest shelter near me where they're cooking and doing volunteer work? Let me do that instead. You're going to feel fulfilled. You're going to meet like-minded people that are generous, that are ready to give. There's the sweetest people are at soup kitchens. Sweetest people. So you're making friends with real good people. You know what I mean? So do that. And usually some churches will have programs doing those events for people like, for my church, like we don't celebrate Christmas or anything like that. We give gifts, whatever. I give gifts. But they'll do little programs and stuff. You go there, you don't have to feel like, oh, where's my family? Where's this? Where's that? There's singles club in those churches. Like join a church, join a community, join something, but put yourself out there. Don't just stay home. Staying home is only going to make you feel worse. Scrolling is only going to make you feel worse. And if you're shy, go places where it's low maintenance. You don't have to do much. Start with the library. Start with the bookstore. It's very low maintenance. Start with a park. Okay. Next thing, you could take a class instead of volunteering. There's lots of classes around. Get a trainer. If it's a gym, they have art classes, painting. They have cooking classes, different classes in your community. Look for what classes that they have that you can take, Pilates, whatever. Go and join a class where they'll have the same people there all the time. Eventually, you're not going to be solo, trust me. But take a class. There's so many classes in your communities that they have for whatever niche that you're interested in. But if you don't want to volunteer, when you pay your money for something, you go by yourself, you feel like you belong there, it's low maintenance, especially if you're shy. Then everybody else in here paid their money, did that, whatever, like we're good. Okay, but look for a class. The next thing I would say is get a pet if it's intense. And if you can take care of them, if you don't have a phobia, whatever, pets are really good with that. Like, it makes you, nothing feels better than coming home to, I used to have pets. Me and my roommate, which is my best friend, before she got married, we were living together. We had 2 cats, right? She took both of them. Like, you can have them. It was more convenient for me for her to take them when my lifestyle was out at the time. Especially, I was traveling a lot for work and stuff, so it wouldn't have been convenient to keep the cats. But there was nothing better than coming home, because our cats were very affectionate. I know cats get a bad rep, but they were very affectionate. And for them to purr and be on you, it could really calm you down. Dogs also, when you come home, there's little feats just waiting for you. It keeps you busy and distracted and like really your best friend, family. And you can talk to a dog and not worry about them telling your secrets. They're emotional support pets for a lot of people, especially if you deal with anxiety, with stress. And then it helps when you have a pet, like say, you're too shy to go to the park by yourself. You're too shy to go to the beach by yourself. Then you know what? Bring your dog with you. Bring your dog. Your dog will see another dog play. You can talk to people that way. You can use your dog for that. Even some restaurants, like little cafes, I said, they allow emotional support pets or pets in there. Get a little carrier pet. You don't always have to get a huge dog, one that you can literally carry with you into every establishment. I had these little carriers to take our cats and for walks. I would get and just take them for walks. They even had cat leash, which they hated, or catch carriers. Cats used to hate those things. But, by all means necessary, we're going for a walk and you're not going to run off, okay? But yeah, get a pet. It's going to help you to feel better in that regards. Also, if it's really, really that intense, speak to a mental health professional. Do that, okay? Join certain Discords, group communities online. You can do that. It helps also. You'll meet a lot of like-minded people from different groups online, social media groups, and communities, basically, where you really will find a lot of like-minded people in your tribe, your people. Even Facebook groups. I know that sounds so old, but there's so many people in my era of Facebook, because I don't be on Facebook at all. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't be on Facebook. When I was on Facebook, they had groups. But do things like that. There are communities where you can do that. Like there's an app for I think it's, oh my goodness, it's not coming to me, but it's like a Duolingo, but you actually chat with natives of that country. So when I was going to Italy, I was learning how to speak Italian, and I wanted to speak to natives in Italy to polish a little bit better. So when I go there, I'm not completely clueless of what people are saying to me. And it was a really cool app. When I think of the name, I'll put it on there. But then I had to delete it a little bit because it was like there was people that was using it as a dating app, which was like, I just want to talk. Like, let's talk about different things. But there are people that just really want to chat. Like there was some good girls there who talk. And, I didn't meet with anybody in Italy, but I'm sure if we spoke long enough, was on social media and was say, you could meet up with people, like no matter where you're going. If you're planning a trip, you're like, hey, I'm about to go to Germany in a couple months, or next year I want to go to Greece. Let me start learning a new language and, talk to natives there. That's good. Find a group for that and chat up and make friends. Also, travel. I would say that traveling is so good. Learning a new language and preparation for travel really removes the loneliness because we connect with people by learning languages. So for instance, I'm currently still trying to master Spanish. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to master Spanish. Everyone around me speaks Spanish except me. And I be feeling like, I can understand you clearly. I can understand Spanish clearly, so don't talk about me in Spanish. Okay, I could read it clearly and I can write it. Writing is no problem, but it's the speaking. It still trips me up. But I find that when you learn a language or you know how to speak a language, it opens new avenues to communicate with people, even people you don't really know. It breaks that ice to where it really does help with the loneliness. Like say, for instance, you meet someone, even in Italy, someone would say something in Italian to me, not thinking I would understand it. And I respond a little bit. And it's right then and there, conversations a lot. And then there's a little friendliness. And even in America, where they might not, it's not a common language, but you hear someone speaking and you could say something back to them. I was just at Disney and I can understand what they're speaking. You could say something back, and automatically when someone hears their native tongue, especially from someone they feel wouldn't know, it kind of opens, like when I hear someone speak Creole or French, that like, you're white, you're speaking Creole. Oh my goodness, I'm interested. I want to talk to you, stuff like that. So it opens those kind of doors. So that's a good reason to learn a language and go to certain places. Like you maybe go to a Mexican restaurant, or I don't know, if you're learning Italian, go to an Italian restaurant or a French restaurant and start speaking French make your order in French to whoever you see that speak French or whatever, or make your order in Spanish. And, people around will be looking and they'll try to talk to you, make conversation in their language. It really opens doors. So do that, and if men make friends a little bit easier than women because we're so picky, we're so weird sometimes. Men in my life, I've noticed, like my brothers and friends and stuff, they make friends by just going to the court. Like, I'm going to the court with their ball. Like, who you going to play with? I don't know, whoever's there. They don't know nobody there, but they go with their little basketball. By the time they're leaving, you would think they knew these people since they were in Pampers. Laughing. But that's just how it is. Hey, you want to play? I want to play. Da, da, da. But do stuff like that. Don't overthink it. As women, just don't overthink it. Compliment people, smile, These are ways that you can cope with it, but also embrace your loneliness era, your solitude era too. Don't look at it as something that is a curse, I've learned to do that also to now. I don't think it's really rare for me to, I don't feel lonely anymore, but it's because I changed my state of mind, and I've also have a schedule that I stick to with myself where I try not to give myself too much time to think negatively. Like my schedule's good for the whole day. I wake up, I do my devotion with God. He really fills the space in my heart for me. It's really hard to be lonely when I'm constantly trying to draw near him because he fills my voids. That's just it. So I don't neglect my devotion in the morning, connecting, praying, and thinking. And then music is always playing in my home. Whether I'm cooking, in the shower, I make a playlist for the shower, my classical music or my R&B gospel. There's such a genre. And I'm always romanticizing my solitude, my alone time. Romanticize it. Eat in your favorite little plate, your cup. Make things cute and smell good in your house. Spray your favorite perfume. Have relaxing moments and schedules for yourself. And listen, my tongue just twisted. It be happening. Romanticize your lonely era. Romanticize it. Your lonely girl era. Make it cute, make it soft. Or if you're a guy, you can romanticize it too. This is your time to discover yourself, to journal. What do you like? What do you want to do? It's not the end of the world. Discover yourself. What are your passions? And what are your dreams? And grow, figure out what you like, explore. Loneliness, being bored. There's power in being bored. There's power in being lonely. And it doesn't have to be the end. And know that there are people that deal with this. And I didn't just wake up one day and stop being lonely. All of these steps I slowly started doing. I had extreme anxiety with even going to pump my own gas. That's how much I did not want to be in public. I didn't even want to pump my own gas. I wouldn't go grow. When Instacart came around, when I found out I could have a delivery service deliver my groceries, you think I'm going to go get my own groceries? Please. That's how much I didn't want to be out of my house. Okay, so I've been there, done that, and it's little by little by little by little, the steps, do them, and it's everything in life. Healing is work. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and feel better, but put it into practice. And I pray for everyone watching this video that you really, really, really get to fill that void, that the Lord fills it for you, and you find healthier habits to deal with loneliness and know that it's not the end. And if you're watching and you have any more commentary you want to add as far as tips on what we could do to help fill that void and cope with it. Don't be stingy. Put down what it is, because it's a real thing people deal with, and you don't know who your comment could be seen by. That makes a difference, and that really helps. If you watch until the end, put a brown heart in the comments. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.